matchup of Wawa and Toaster, and Wawa having gone to support, they're actually a lot stronger than they have been previously in the past. So they've got a little bit more of a well-rounded team now Infused. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they go up against UWM, who are interesting. They were qualified through the Riot Games online qualifiers. Probably they had a lot of chances. They've been in a lot of tournaments. They had almost on the cusp.
Yeah, they always get close.
Yeah, they were on the cusp of qualifying nearly every single time and finally made it through at the end. Brixton, the guy behind the driving force behind this team, the mid laner for UWM, quite famous for his Syndra play, as you've seen in the first ban for Infused.
Yeah, and Xin and Akali being locked out here by UWM. Ari being banned out by Infused as well. They are targeting that mid lane at the moment. Akali banned against GeoBear. He likes that Akali in the mid lane. Of course, Rifty can take it into top as well.
Yeah, it's more often for Rifty. Yeah. GeoBear not usually playing that in the mid lane. Rifty picking it up. Akali, he's probably one of his better champions on the board. Ari again straight at Brixton, and they're going to have to go for the Warwick ban.
Interestingly, coming out from the blue side there, actually.
Yeah, they obviously don't think that they can play it. No. Interesting, we've seen Panda try to play Warwick before.
Yeah, it didn't work out too well.
Panda is very much a big Lee Sin player, so I imagine if Infused let Lee Sin go through, that'll be something that I think UWM will want to prioritize, because Panda is a big Lee Sin player. Essentially probably his best champion in that jungle, but reflectively also a very good champion for Dan, although Dan has recently increased that champ pool. So now are we going to see UWM potentially lock in that Lee Sin? Actually going to be
a Gnar. Gnar gets through. Like Keys loves his Gnar.
Keys loves Gnar, but also they're taking it away from Rifty. Yeah. So now Dan can make the decision whether he wants to take Lee Sin or maybe want to go for a little bit of a jungle he may potentially feel he can work with better on this 420 patch. But I've seen some really good Dan Lee Sin play in the past, and Wawa going to be picking up Sona, and will that be GeoBear going for Anivia? I would not be surprised.
Bird is the word, Excoundra. Can he be picked up in the mid lane? Can we see GeoBear channeling his inner Froggen, actually going to pick up Lissandra? Now, that is actually a great pick, because you can take that into the top lane or into mid. Works equally well in those lanes.
It's a flex pick, and obviously, Panda potentially going to be locking in that Lee Sin. It's a flex pick, so you've got the ability to say, I'm going to take it in top lane, so it still puts the pressure down onto Brixton to pick something that potentially could go up against Lissandra, but could also potentially rule anything that GeoBear decides to pull out of the bag. And obviously, Malzahar still on the board. GeoBear, famously a very good Malzahar player, brings it out and does incredibly well with it.
The thing about that is now people know a lot more about his Malzahar play. They expect it to some degree, and I think we will see UWM having a strategy for that if the Malzahar does get locked in by GeoBear. It looks like they're going to go for that Lee Sin, as you said, for Propaganda Panda, and Jokerism is going to pick up the Graves. Now, UWM starting already to form their team comp here. They've got a big, strong tank in that top lane. Panda will be coming out of the jungle with the Lee Sin, and then a lot of aggression in that bot lane with the Graves. How do you think we're going to see Infused counteracting that?
I don't know. I mean, historically, Wawa is quite an aggressive support, but also has a good mastery on his defensive support too. I mean, I've been really impressed with the transition that Wawa has made from AD carry to support. Obviously, when you play in that bot lane, you do tend to get a flavour for both sides of those roles. But I've been very impressed with the way Wawa has moved over to that support role. And actually, we've seen him make some really good plays. He plays a... Interestingly, we said that he plays a good Janna. He himself thinks that Janna is potentially his worst champion, but I genuinely have always been impressed with Wawa's Janna plays. So.
And his Thresh as well. His Thresh can be really, really strong.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we're potentially
getting a couple of messages from Rifty, but I can't mute sounds from my stream at the moment. Sorry about that little League of Legends ping in the background. I'm sure we'll find out what is going on there. But Corki being locked in here. Dan is going to pick up Vi in the jungle, and we talked about Dan liking those sort of older school picks. He's always played Vi. He's always enjoyed playing that Vi, and it works out so well for Infused as well, because he can lock someone down. Then you have the Frozen Tomb coming down on that as well. Crescendo coming out from Wawa. That is a lot of lockdown on one champion, perhaps on a couple if you get a good Crescendo off, and it means that your Watmate needs to be really careful about how they group in these team fights.
Yeah, and also there's potentially going to be Brixton taking in that LeBlanc, so it's actually left open the option for Infused to pick either Lissandra into that top lane matchup or take something for GeoBear that can go toe-to-toe with that LeBlanc. We've seen a lot of LeBlanc at IEM yesterday, came up for a couple of teams. Yeah. Leon Gaming, Unicorns of Love.
Unicorns of Love.
They all picked up that LeBlanc, so it's been something that's been making a little bit of resurgence. I think, you know, she still does a lot of damage, not necessarily has the same prowess that she used to, but definitely still a viable pick. And
I'm pretty sure Power Viva went 10-1 versus Bjergsen in the mid lane in the TSM game. So, spoiler alert, sorry, in case anyone didn't watch it. Power Viva had a very good game on that LeBlanc.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, LeBlanc's just been making a little bit of resurgence. Ryu playing it a lot in the European scene too. So Brixton going to try his hand at that one there. And just waiting for the final pick to come through from Infused. Is it going to be for Giobear? Is it going to be for Rifty? Just waiting for that countdown just now.
Well, I have got a couple of messages from Rifty, but I can't read them because they'll come up on stream. So it might be that they have an issue with their champion picks. Maybe someone doesn't have one of the champions that they want to pick up. Proper Panda is messaging me as well. So why don't we just switch the overlay across to our screen so I can have a quick look at what is happening here. Excoundro, what do you think about these team comps thus far?
So far, a pretty standard team comp from UWOT, mate. It does look like it's very standard from what I'm seeing. Proper Panda on Lee Sin, Keys on the Gnar in the top lane, something we're very used to seeing him play. Brixton, I haven't seen too much of his LeBlanc, but I know that he's a particularly fantastic Syndra, and I believe there was a...
There was an Evelyn lock-in at the end there, but I assume that was a placeholder pick. I didn't get any messages. Evelyn is a Swain. That's
also flex. They don't because of that pick. You don't know where Swain will be going. Obviously, it doesn't matter at this point for either side, but Swain can easily move into that top lane, and both Lissandra and Swain have good interchangeable positions in those lanes. But I'd imagine Swain would be likely moving towards that mid lane, but I'm unsure on that. I'm unsure on that one because. Honestly, if you get towards your ultimate, it's a lot harder to burst Swain down with LeBlanc because obviously you have that passive healing. And once you have that passive healing, you can negate a lot of the burst coming in through LeBlanc too. But Lissandra as well could potentially do just as well. But we'll have to see which one of these do like to pick up. I think Giobear is the bigger Lissandra player out of the two of them. I'm not entirely sure on that aspect. And Rifty, going to be going for the Swain. So Giobear indeed picking up the Lissandra, going toe-to-toe with Brixton in that mid lane. It's going to be Keys versus Rifty Swain. That'll be a very interesting matchup because I feel in the ranged form, Swain should dictate most of this play. Obviously, he can use his E for his harass. He's got a longer auto-attack range than Rifty. Obviously, when they get into the melee combat balls, if Rifty can proc his ultimate, then he'll be healing even when he's stunned stunned from Key's ultimate. So there's a lot of outplay potential for Rifty in that top lane, and also going to be hard to shut down a Swain who's got a lot of sustain post 6. And it's also a champion that you don't see very often. So learning and playing that matchup in such a short amount of time, obviously haven't got played that lot, it'd be quite difficult for Keys.
We said earlier, Bird is the word, Excoundro. It's not going to be the Anivia in the mid lane, but it is the Ravenous Flock in the top lane coming out from Swain. So I'm really excited to see how Rifty does manage to play in that lane because he's not going to be able to land that many never moves on Keys. He's not going to be able to get that stun down as often as possible. You say he's got some good poke coming out from those birds as well, but I think Keys probably has the matchup. He's got Boomerang Blade for the long-range harass. If he can get into Mega Gnar form regularly, he's not going to be able to be harassed down too low. All it takes is a good gank coming out from Proper Panda. Dan, of course, will be looking at those ganks as well. It's going to be a very close matchup, and something we haven't seen that often when we see Gnar in the top lane. Usually, he tends to win out that matchup pretty easily. Yeah,
I mean, Keys is just a good. I mean, obviously, there's so many good Gnar players on the teams that we've got playing in this tournament right now, but Keys is probably one of the better of the lot. I mean, you probably can't compare it to Numlock's Gnar, for instance, but he's definitely.
But Numlock's at TF2 Pro. So
TF2 Pro. But Keys has definitely got that prowess in this champion. I haven't seen Rifty play Swain competitively while I've been casting.
I can't remember the last time we saw a competitive Swain.
I think Freddy122 might have brought it up a few times.
A while ago.
But I mean, I know Swain has had this presence in the top lane as sort of an interesting back pocket pick that he could pull out against certain champions. He was pretty good against a lot of melee heavy champions in the top lane. Did quite well in that respect. So I'm really interested to see how Rifty is going to move forward with this one because I've never seen him play it competitively. So I'm not sure. I don't have too much information about how this guy is going to perform. But knowing Rifty, he does play a lot of interesting champs. He's got a lot of mastery on champs like Akali. You see it banned out against him almost 24/7. So I expect him to have a pretty decent game. I expect him to know this match. He won't have picked it for no reason. They will have practiced this type of thing. They know that Gnar is a big pick right now. This may be something that Infused, like we said, Infused are fantastic innovators. They are the guys in the UK scene that come out and look for the chink in the armor of the current meta and look to exploit it.
They enjoy their cheese. They'll admit it themselves. We talked to Dan and he's like, yeah, we're the kings of cheese. We are very good at bringing out these new picks, these new compositions, these new plays that people just don't expect from the from us because they've been so long. They've been established in the UK community for so long. People tend to put them into a bracket. They're like, yeah, Wawa will play a Sona or a Thresh or perhaps a Janna, and then we'll have Dan on Vi and mid lane GeoBear will pick this or this. And it's like now they're bringing out the Swains, they're bringing out the Lissandras, they're just adding a little bit of diversity to their roster, and it's really exciting to see.
Well, GeoBear always brought that diversity,
yeah,
because GeoBear's champ pool has always been crazy. Even in the top lane, he'd always play slightly off-meta stuff, like a lot of, even in competitive, he'd play a lot of Vladimir, for instance, which you don't tend to see in a top lane competitive aspect too much. So GeoBear's always had that diversity to his play, but now he's in the mid lane, he's got a bigger champ pool to pull from, so he's also got a lot of back pocket picks like that Malzahar that a lot of other mid laners won't have the experience playing against too much. And that's what makes GeoBear so strong. He's got the ability to 1v1 outplay just through the ability of having such a wide mastery of champions and being so mechanically skilled also. I have seen his Lissandra quite a lot, and it is a prowess. It is he is a god on that champion. He's really, really, really very good. And Dan on Vi, like we said, something we've seen a lot of him play. He plays it very, very well. He's very good at the counter ganks as well. As you would expect most Vi's to have the mastery of counter gank down, but Dan is particularly good at that. And I think Rafa being brought in, I don't think Rafa is actually Toaster, is it? No, Rafa is
Rafa.
Yeah, Rafa being brought in for Toaster, who was the AD carry for Infused previously. But Rafa did play with Infused before, I believe, so this is not a new pickup for them. He has worked with Wawa previously. So we'll have to see how their synergy is working out coming into this. But I expect Rafa, a very good AD carry, Wawa stepping up to the plate as a very good support. I wouldn't put anything past them as being anything less than perfect in this game.
No, not at all. Day 2 of Riot Four Nations tournament here, coming to you from the ESL studios in Leicester. I'm Sona, this is Xscoundrel, my lovely, gorgeous, wonderfully waistcoated co-caster. We haven't got the top hats today, I'm afraid, unlike a little Twitter post going around, but I'm sure we will have an exciting day of League of Legends actions. We've got Infused, we've got FM Esports, we've got WOT, mate, and we've got the Cambridge Dongers coming in for you later as well. Hopefully, just as exciting as it was yesterday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the next game too. That'll be FM Esports going up against Cambridge Dongers, I believe. I'm not quite sure. I haven't checked the...
Can the Dong squad bring something out?
Can the Dong squad bring something
Probably
out?
one of the underestimated teams in this group.
Probably
a little bit like Void were yesterday.
Probably the most underestimated team in this group. Probably the weakest seed coming in, mainly because they've got a new roster. They haven't had a lot of time to work together. Obviously, a bit of a mismatch of UK university players too. So
and they still got some of their great players. So Quad Cannon was going to be playing for them. Carnifexism, that's how. Yeah, it's his name, isn't it? Yeah. There's some really good players coming out from the Cambridge Dongers, and I expect them to be on top form today.
Yeah, I mean, Quad Cannon is touted as a literal god of the mid lane. He's really, really solid mechanically. He's amazing. Carnifex is even got his own Twitch meme going around, which is the Carney Flexin. He's a very, very solid AD carry too. So I'm looking forward to seeing Cambridge Dongers bring out a game or two and hopefully show some of the bigger teams in the UK that they're not completely discounted just yet. But right now, the action is all with Infused and WOT, mate, with Brixton and
I'm going to laugh every time you say that today.
Brixton and crew going toe-to-toe with one of the paragons of the UK scene.
Interestingly, WOT mate's bot lane, Jokerism WYZU, on that Graves Nami have decided to go for Ignite in that lane as opposed to the exhaust coming out from Infused. Rafa, Wawa have a lot of poke with the Hymn of Valor and Phosphorus Bomb combination, but they've decided to be a little bit safer just in case Jokerism goes really aggressive, because Graves has a huge amount of burst damage with the buckshot, with the smoke screen going down as well. It locks you out of a fight very effectively, and with that Ignite coming out from WYZU, I think Wawa just wanted to be a little bit safer in the lane.
Yeah, and also the exhaust provides a lot of utility for trying to stop the majority of bursts from LeBlanc as well. If Wawa's quick on his fingers getting that exhaust down, then obviously they'll have the potential to stop a lot of bursts coming out from Brixton, because obviously the majority of the time Brixton will have to distort in. Pause has come out already. We'll just find out.
I'll find out what the pause is for. I was just warming up my hands ready to move around the screen, but WYZU just a little bit slow loading in, so he'll be in just a second. Now, Riot, of course, introduced that early 15 seconds, I think it is, that you're stuck in your base, just to help out people who load in a little bit slower into the game, but better to get everyone in. We've got the pause facility, we might as well use it and just wait for WYZU to get into the game. Yeah,
I mean, obviously it stops these, basically takes away any kind of emphasis on the ability to buy quickly, because obviously a lot of games were sometimes decided in the early game because the team was better at buying items. So they've taken that away now, so you have 15 seconds to decide and buy the items out, and then you can then go on and look towards making level 1 tactics. Makes it a little bit fairer, I guess. Obviously, you don't really decide your skill on League of Legends based on how quickly you can open up the menu. So we're just seeing this 15-second delay start, and there we go. But you do get the speed buff to make up for it afterwards, so you should almost end up in the same place that you would have been previously.
Yep, and Infused look like they're going to be starting off a relatively safe start, as do WOT, mate. It's what we saw most of the day yesterday. Everyone likes to be passive in the early game. They're big games today. The two winners of this group will go through to next week's semi-final stages. They will be cast here again from the ESL studios, and after that, their best of 3 is after that on Sunday next week we have the finals, and they're competing for €8,000 prize pool and the title of being the best in the UK and Ireland. It's a big tournament.
Yeah, it really is. There's nothing to be shake your head at, to be honest. These guys going at it. This is probably one of the bigger tournaments in the UK they've ever had to contend for. I believe a lot of other tournaments this autumn and winter have had big prize pools too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So they've had a lot of impetus in the UK scene recently, and a lot of it was this Four Nations, the driving force behind all of the fantastic tournaments that we've had this autumn and winter. And honestly, it's been one of the best times for UK esports that we've had in many years. It's been absolutely fantastic. And kicking off Group A today is the UWOT Infused team. They are going to have a very placid start.
Minions have spawned.
As they
not too flaccid a start there, scoundrel. And one thing we haven't actually talked about, Brixton in the mid lane has gone for this LeBlanc pick. You've got a couple of options as LeBlanc in mid. You can go Sigil of Malice max to get that extra harassment down onto your enemy mid laner, which is Lissandra in this case. I expect Brixton to be going for the Distortion max though. He wants that wave play against the Lissandra, who's got relatively good wave play herself with the Ice Shard and Ring of Frost. And he can put a bit of harassment down as well. Look at that, already going in with a Distortion just to get some damage down onto Geobet.
That does tend to happen. You do often see LeBlanc's max the Distortion just for the ability to wave, because historically LeBlanc is one of the worst wave clears in the game. And obviously in mid lane, actually being able to wave clear is a massive bonus. You need to be able to push towards turret. Actually look at Brixton going very aggressive there. And obviously you can have an extra second to jump back to your Distortion now, which actually could mean, oh, Panda.
This is really aggressive from Panda. Doesn't have the smite available, nor does Dan. And Panda, of course, has that percentage health damage on his Q. He's going to go on to Dan, and he's going to steal away the red buff. Nice little bit play there by Panda, and a good early advantage for your WOT, mate.
The thing is that as Lee Sin, it's so easy to do that now because you just have the ability. He didn't even take his own buff. He just took the Grand Pit level 2 and then walked straight towards that red buff. And actually Dan may look to respond by picking up the red buff of Dan himself, but of Panda himself. But really nice play there. And Lee Sin can do that in the jungle now, because obviously a lot of junglers will go a lot lower. So counter-invading or invading the jungle is often a little bit more of an attractive option, especially for a jungler like Lee Sin. And hitting level 2 so early with just one camp means you can position yourself for it a lot earlier too. So really nice play there from Panda. A very impressive little counter.
It doesn't put Dan too far behind though, because you get a lot of XP from the small monsters in the jungle now. The wolves and the raptors give you almost as much XP as getting one of the bigger buffs, so he won't be too far behind. He does lose out that buff. He hasn't cleared the camp as well, so it'll be a bit longer before that second spawn rotation comes up, and might slow him down as we get to, say, the 7-minute mark, the 8-minute mark. But at the moment, he's not too far behind. Yeah,
actually, Panda probably going to have to back after this. He's very low right now, probably.
It's a manly Panda, though.
Looks
like he's not actually going to back away.
He's going to put a ward down. I would imagine maybe take the risk cutler then to start to back off, but like I said, he's very low, no pots left, so maybe take this back off and then take his own red buff to give himself that XP and gold advantage starting off. But again, UWOT mate come out fighting, taking away that early red buff means there's a big advantage here for Panda. And Darren's going to have to do a little bit of work to catch up, but he's not wasting any time as Panda has that smite up again. He's going to smite it early on, I guess. You do get a lot of health back with that smite now, so I'm going to give him a little bit of health.
And the Iron Will off his safeguard as well will get him that little bit of extra life, so it means that he can take that away pretty easily. Bot lane, meanwhile, actually while we're putting a lot of pressure down, you talked about how aggressive he can be as a support, and he's showing that on Sonar at the moment. Getting in there, getting that Hymn of Valor off, trying to get onto Wizyu, and look at that. Wizyu takes an empowered power chord, and a lot of damage coming down from while Rafa staying safe, just CSing in the backline. It's giving him about 6 CS lead.
Yeah, a little bit of an advantage here. Obviously doing a great job on Sonar. I always am impressed with Wildbird's support play, especially on this sort of poke-heavy aggressive support, because he just has that type of play style and personality that lends himself to be quite aggressive in lane. And you can see right there, not worried too much about the return trades. He has just got that area perseverance, so he's going to be healing up when he can. In this top lane, been very even between the two so far, definitely. But right now, it's Keys with the slight advantage, having just hit Mega Knife Bomb. Doesn't want to go aggressive, and Rifty knows it. He wants to play a little bit safer. And that will be all she wrote in that sense. But Rifty will eventually start to do some real damage with that Torment. It's a very big harass skill for Ceirnan against melee heavy champions, especially when Na is in that Mega Na form.
And it's kind of what we said there. We saw Rifty wasn't able to get the Never move down onto keys, was able to get a bit of harassment. It's a very even lane at the moment. Level 6 is when the big things are going to come out there. If the Ravenous Flock can be popped before we see the Gnar ultimate and the stun coming out from Gnar, perhaps we'll see Rifty winning the trades, but you always have to be wary about the amount of damage that Gnar can just bring onto you. Panda's going to jump onto Wawa here. He needs to be careful. Flashes away, and we'll get away towards safety, but the first good gank coming out from Proper Panda means that he burns a flash in the bot lane.
This is very, very key to the way Proper Panda likes to play on this Lee Sin. He is very aggressive. This is why he likes the Lee Sin. He does a lot of damage down there. He gets some good vision control too. And he's going to meet.
Dan and Panda are going to meet. No. Here comes Vi, jumps onto Panda, has got the flash if he wants to get away, safeguards himself. And Dan actually backs away straight away because there was good reactions from Brixton in the mid lane and from Jokerism and WYZU in the bot. Rafa putting some pressure down here, but nothing major happening at the moment. A very tight game thus far. Slight gold lead for Infused.
Yeah, Dan still Panda still had his ward available to jump to from his position if he wanted to. So obviously he was going to be a little more careful. Now Brixton is starting to stutter against GeoBear in this mid lane. The Ice Shards just doing their work on a very squishy mid laner in the form of LeBlanc.
And the passive from Lissandra really helps her out in this lane as well. She can spam those Ice Shards every 20 seconds or so. She gets a free spell, which is just really difficult to deal with when you're on a champion like LeBlanc who's using her spells to wave clear, trying to get a bit of harassment down at the same time. But if someone can just Ice Shard you every 18 seconds or so without having to worry about mana, it's very difficult for you to win out that lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually an interesting passive.
He's going to jump onto keys. Ravenous Flock comes down, but they move back away. It is an interesting passive.
Interesting passive in the sense that I don't think it has that much impact. I think it's just great for things like top lane where you're not going to be backing as often. Every 18 seconds, you've got to calculate the actual health per 5 that you'll be getting from LeBlanc in an 18-second period. So it almost doesn't make too much difference. But it is good if you're in sort of these non-consistent poking lanes because you do have that little bit of extra sustain.
Brixton is going to jump onto GeoBear here. Proper Panda is coming in, but there is the Frozen Tomb. The Ignite goes down onto Brixton as well. Looks like GeoBear might get caught out here. Proper Panda goes in, but the flash from Proper Panda in the wrong direction. GeoBear flashed away. Nice safeguard, and Dan came in from the side as well. And that's all she wrote for the gank. No one ends up going down, but a very tight fight.
Yeah, Proper Panda needs to be careful right now because he's level 4 and he's starting to fall behind on XP, and actually Dan is very close to hitting level 6. He'll probably get it off this camp. He just has hit level 6 from this camp. So right now, Panda putting a lot of pressure on the map, but is behind a significant portion in experience. So he has to be very careful about how he approaches these next few minutes, because right now Dan will have dominance on the map. He has that level 6. This is where Vi becomes extremely devastating in ganks. And then Panda does not have the time to catch up and counter gank because he's only just hit level 5. He's going to have to take some stuff off the map. Really not going to be hitting level 6 until he either takes the blue buff or the red buff. You'd imagine he'd be donating that blue buff over to Brixton, so he's going to be a little bit behind in terms of experience.
He's actually jumping onto Rifty in the top lane. Nars him back into the wall, doesn't get the stun off. The wallop does come down. The Ravenous Flock is doing so much work here for Rifty though. Look at that, he keeps going onto keys. The Torment comes out as well. And that didn't get the stun off there from Rifty, and because the Ravenous Flock was already down, he took a lot of damage in return.
Like I said, Ravenous Flock, when you can just pop it when you see Gnar going.
Ooh, WYZU's going to get a Sultan battery. There comes the crescendo as well, and here's the combo. Jokerism's there. WYZU survives the teleport coming in. He does go down to Rafa, but there is a teleport coming in here from Keys. They're going to go on to Rafa. Can they get him down? Keys doesn't have Mega Gnar for a few seconds. Here comes Dan as well. Rafa's solo. Buckshot flashed away. Dan is under the tower. Takes one tower shot. Keys is chasing. The Sonic Wave doesn't connect, but there's Brixton. He goes on to Wawa as well. Gets that chain down. Here comes GeoBear. He's going to go onto Brixton. So much damage to Never move. Brixton's locked up. He might get away. It's only his clone going to be able to get away. Rifty gets the kill there onto Brixton. They're going to chase onto Proper Panda, who isn't 6, as you said. Smokescreen comes down across the wall, and they will just back away. But a 2-2 trade there in a very chaotic fight.
Very chaotic indeed, and actually a big wave going to be pushing into this bot lane. I think Jokerism is going to want to stick around for this.
Oh, Panda needs to be careful. Frozen Tomb comes in. Jokerism is still there. Panda goes very, very low. Rifty's inside. Never move connects. Rifty jumps in with the Ravenous Flock. They're going to go onto him. Proper Panda is there. Ice Shard comes in. Only WYZU left alive. And they're going to eat that fish for breakfast. They go down. Wawa helping out, tanking the tower. GeoBear picks up a double kill and a great fight for Infused.
Again, stuck around far too long. They were way too low. There was a lot of high health dive targets as well. And this is going to give an exemplary opportunity.
Oh,
Wizzy you.
Oh, wow. He forgot about the AoE damage.
Yeah, he forgot about the flame res. Actually, oh, nearly.
Almost stole it away. They do manage to pick up the Dragon Friction trying to jump in there, but a very good fight there for Infused. The kills going on to their mid laner. GeoBear picking up 2, Rifty picking up 2 as well. He's got a Catalyst already. Going back with 1,200 gold will almost be able to complete that WOT of Aegis.
Yeah, big impetus for him there. He's got a massive advantage over Keys in this top lane. Keys not dying, but unfortunately 2 kills going over to Rifty, and we're seeing this Swain pick really start to work out here. Unfortunately, the Dragon also went over to Infused, and be even worse off for UWOT mate at this period in time, as I think Rafa is going to just back off at the very last moment there. Yeah, Wawa just forgetting about the AoE damage that now comes out from Dragon, so obviously you don't have to be standing near to take that massive bolus of damage that you sometimes get.
You saw him die, and you just imagine him going, "You what, mate?
You what,
Can't
mate?"
believe I died to that." It's just 420 is still a relatively new hand. People are still learning how to play with it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a little bit easy to forget the smaller, finer details like that Dragon having that AoE ability on every third auto attack, I believe.
No, it's every auto attack of Dragon.
No, that is the auto attack.
That is the auto attack, yep.
So you can no longer block it, apparently.
Yeah, PvE, they've made it so you can't fight ground Dragon damage anymore. So you can't do the support moves in, support moves back type thing, because it's a lot easier to do on the current patch. But obviously didn't work out too well for Infused there. With you going very low. There's the crescendo. Exhaust onto Jokerism as well. Tidal Wave comes out, knocks him out of the Valkyrie. Oh, flash away from the collateral damage there by Wawa will keep him alive.
In the top lane, though.
2 for 2 trade in the top lane. Keys goes very low to that Torment coming out from Rifty. And it's what you said, Rifty now in a dominant position in that lane.
Well, like I said, every time that Keys will be looking to engage, all that needs to happen is Rifty pop that Ravenous block, and he'll just sustain. Yeah. Sustain through any damage that Keys will be looking to put out to him. So even when he's stunned, it's a bit like Swain in Zhonya's. The Ravenous block still keeps channeling, and it just means that you have that slight advantage over these small engages, because you get a lot of damage back up, and a lot of damage coming in.
Brixton, there's the Frozen Tomb coming in. Proper Panda trying to get him from the side. Brixton very low. Morello Nomicon finished already on GeoBear means that he can get a lot of damage down onto that Brixton, but Proper Panda not quite able to connect with his Sonic Wave. We do see Dan trying to get him from the side as well. Won't be able to get onto this UWOT team at the moment. Does just have to dodge back to the side.
Yeah, to be honest, Brixton's not been having the best of time 1v1 versus GeoBear, and this having difficulty putting a lot of burst damage down onto the Sandra. And to be honest, GeoBear playing incredibly well, just staying at range when it looks like there's going to be an all-in from Brixton. He still has that Frozen Tomb available to him. He can get a lot of damage off counterintuitively back onto Brixton. So working out quite well. You can see GeoBear having a great time. 2-0-2, 2-0-2 on Rifty too. Everyone that needs to be gold heavy has their gold on them right now.
And they pick up the tower in the bot lane, puts them 3,000 gold in the lead. It's a big margin this early into the game, only 13 minutes in, and it's been action-packed at Scoundrel. The one place I think I expected to see more action was in a 2v2 bot lane. We had that great fight earlier on with the teleports coming in and Brixton coming down and GeoBear coming down for the gank as well, but 2v2, everything seems to be really close, but no one seems to be going down.
Yeah, I mean, it's so clutch. Like we saw right there, it was 2 support ultimates that determined the fight. Wawa got a double crescendo, then a fantastic tidal wave to block the Valkyrie, and movement forward from the Infused bot lane too. So again, it's just tit for tat in the bot lane, really back and forth. But right now, Panda looking to make his presence felt. He hasn't had the impact that I think he should have done. Really, he's had a lot of time spent counter jungling the Dan early on, so took away that early buff, but unfortunately fell behind on XP because he was trying to do too much. To do too much across the map, and unfortunately hit level 6 a long time after Dan, and Dan has held the advantage ever since then, especially with that Dragon. With Dragon up in another 2 minutes, I expect there to be some action rotating around there too.
Teleports will be available for both of the top laners if they decide to come down for those fights. At the moment, you have to give the Dragon fight across the board Infused. They've got the AoE damage, they've got Frozen Tomb, they've got Ravenous Flock coming out from Rifty as well. They are in a dominant position.
I mean, they've got a run of Aegis Swain at 14 minutes. It's just, there's nothing you can do to compare with that right now. It's just such a big presence in team fights. You just don't want to give Swain that kind of advantage because he can just almost essentially walk into the center of your team and do incredible amounts of damage. As they look to get onto GM, but he's going to escape with that Path of Frost right at the end.
Yeah, it's difficult for him because Proper Panda hasn't quite got the ganks off as well as he would have liked to. He's not landing his Sonic Waves. He's trying to force things a little bit too much, and He's got a warrior enchant on his Ranger's Trailblazer, means that he still has to keep his warding totem. Can't get that sweeping lens off, can't get the extra pressure on those ganks because he's not able to remove vision from the enemy, but he's just not quite doing as much as he'd like to be doing on Lee Sin. It's not the proper Panda we know and love.
Yeah, and actually, even if he looked to gank the top lane, I really wouldn't even give the fight.
Talking of ganks, Brixton's going to get jumped on a sudden battery onto him. The tidal wave comes out. Crescendo and Frozen 2-3 ultimates used. Dan actually getting locked up in the tower. WizU doing a great job. The Ignite will tick, tick, boom, and that is a very dead vibe. Proper Panda trying to get onto Wawa. Is he going to be able to chase this one down? Nice kick backwards. Nice kick. Wawa's going to get chased out, but the Glacial Pulse comes out from Geobear. He jumps in. Wawa does get taken out. It's a double kill for WizU. Here comes Jokerism. Collateral damage misses to the side. Geobear's going to be the target. Flashes away. Picks up the kill. He's on a rampage. They're going to turn on to Rafa, but he has got the Valkyrie to get himself away if he wants to. He's trying to come down from the top lane, rotating onto Geobear, misses the boomerang play though. Rafa going very aggressive. Here comes Keys. The Glacial Path into ring across. Geobear picks up one. Keys picks up one as well. Rafa gets the double kill. Oh, missing with the big one off the flash. But Rafa slays Jokerism, and it's another good fight for Infused. Yeah, they're just slowly crawling this advantage forward, and because they have the majority of their team still alive, they do have the potential to go straight for this dragon. I think UWM do have the timer. I believe Brixton did get vision of the dragon as it went down, so they will know that it's up and available now as well also, and it looks like there is a reaction from the majority of the UWM team as they all are respawning and heading towards that dragon area. And going to give up a lot of pressure on this top lane tower though. Yeah, I mean, but there is teleport on Rifty and he has got a lot of mana. They have to do it. They either go for the top lane or they go for the dragon. Looks like the dragon is where they're trying to garner some control of right now. And Wawa, and Brixton looks like he wants to go aggressive. Yeah, Brixton's going aggressive onto Wawa, but look at how little damage he's actually getting down. He got some onto down and a little bit onto Wawa as well, but at the moment, unless he pops that Death Ride Blast, he's not really able to burst anyone down. And Proper Panda missing the Q to the side again. The tower goes down in the top lane for Infused. That's their third of the game. 0 towers picked up from UWM at the moment. And at the moment, Infused are just controlling global objectives. Here they go. Brixton gets blocked up. Frozen 2 picks up the kill. And double kill for Geobear. The teleport coming in. Proper Panda's off towards the side. Keys jumps onto Rafa. Rafa will go down. They slay Wawa as well. Proper Panda trying to chase away. Keys is there. Jokerism with Dan, but you have to be careful of the Lissandra coming down from the top. Dan gets the kill. So much damage. Keys left it. Last man standing will pick up Dan. He's going to get never moved. He's going to get taken out and Infused pick up the yes. Keys is not finding the right key to unlock this passive of Infused right now because they are dominating these fights around Dragon. And it was all about Rifty and Geobear. As you can see, the last men standing for Infused. They are incredibly powerful right now. 6-1-6 on Geobear, 4-0-2 on Rifty. Can't really compete with the mid laner and the top laner right now. Although there is a little bit of gold going down onto Keys after that fight, but not enough, I feel, to make that much of a difference as Infused are going to snowball even further throughout this game as they pick up that dragon, unaided by their jungler. 2 dragon buffs now for Infused, and they definitely have the hold on this game. You can tell how well Infused have thought out this team comp as well, because the second item on Lissandra, usually you would see something like a Rabadon's Death Cap, or maybe even a Zonya or something like that. She's gone for the Abyssal set, but they're so far ahead, they want the Swain damage coming in from top lane. They have so much AP, they're thinking through their builds really well. Essentially what they're expected to do here is have Geobear in the middle of the fight, has that Ring of Frost to lock everyone up, and then you just have the Ravenous Flock. Bird is the word. Yeah, exactly. The Ravenous Flock comes through, the reduction in magic resistance from that Abyssal Scepter, especially early on in this game, because it's flat magic resistance as well. It's not percentage. It's really, really big for Rifty. He can stand in the middle with Geobear, and they will almost be doing true damage to the majority of the team, except for potentially Keys. So there's a lot right now going in the favor of Infused, and Geobear very smart with his item choice too. Look at how few magic resist items there are as well. There's a Chalice of Harmony on WizU, and there's a Spectre's Power on Keys, and that's it. That's all the magic resist coming out here from the side of UWM. They're just going to get melted in these fights. Another Morello Nomicon being picked up on Rifty, so that's 2 for the team. Wow. That is going to be so much damage, and the Griever's Wounds passive is massive as well, especially when you've got someone like a Graves who tends to rely on lifesteal to keep himself alive in fights, along with that True Grit passive. It's actually a big thing for the fact that they've got a Nami on their side, so there's not going to be any savior heals or a less chance of a savior heal in a team fight. Not that I expect it would make too much difference at this point anyway, but it's just there. And obviously Morello Nomicon is a very gold efficient item at the moment for the mana regeneration and for the amount of stats it provides. It gives you this big mid-game boost. It doesn't quite scale as well as Athene, but Athene's got a lot of run to it too, but it gives you a giant mid-game boost, and obviously that Griever's Wound passive, you can't really put a money value on that. It is very, very powerful as Brixton attempting to do the damage to Dan there, but Dan, having that Spectre's Cowl right now, is just going to shrug it off. And we talk about how Na's quite predictable as to when he wants to go in. You see that from Infused. They were like, well, we don't have a wave here, and Na's being aggressive with almost a full rage bar. We're just going to back off. We'll let them burn down that Mega Gnar form, and then we'll go back in just a minute. Infused playing very, very intelligently in this game.
Yeah, they have genuinely been so impressed with played recently in tournaments as well. And you're seeing that it's, you know, UWT mate are not a bad team.
No,
UWT mate are a very good team. They got it. You know, they made it to the finals of the Riot Online qualifiers. Yep. There's a big set of talent on this team, but obviously you've been together a long time. They've got tactics practiced and perfected, and you're seeing this now. And this, again, like we're saying, it is an interesting team comp. It's not something you see every day. They aren't sticking to the meta left, right, and center as keys. I'm not sure you want to be doing that, buddy.
He's trying to chase onto it because he knows he's got proper Panda and Jokerism coming in from the side, but not able to land any of these slows means that Rifty just walks his way away. And at that moment, the Swain is looking beefy in the top lane. No one really able to deal with him in a 1v1 situation means that he can just keep split pushing.
I almost feel like even if they had Panda and Jokerism there, he would have survived long enough for Dan to be able to react and potentially have turned it around. He's just that fed right now. That's
the power of Ravenous Flock. WYZIU needs to be careful. He has to back away here from GeoBear, but yeah, the power of Ravenous Flock just keeps you alive for so much longer than you'd expect, especially when there's more people there as well. So you try and gank him, he's like, now I just got 3 people to spell vamp off. Thank you very much. I will get a bunch of my health back. We see Infused pushing towards the mid lane now, but you have to wonder what WOT mate are thinking at the moment. They have a bunch more games today. They've still got 2 teams to play, so they can still get through even if they lose this one. But it's demoralizing to be this far behind this early in the day.
You've got to think that Ravenous Flock, you heal for 75% of the damage done against champions. So with 3 champions, you're actually increasing the healing that you get, so you survive that much longer. It's just such an interesting spell in the sense that sometimes the more people around you, the better you are for having it procced. And to be honest, I'd be surprised if he couldn't 2v1 at this point.
Yeah, most definitely, especially with that relevated and fully stacked, almost about a minute left on that one. Infused pick up the tower in the mid lane with a 4-man rotation, and it's exactly what we said. They can't fight 4v4 at the moment, and someone has to stay in the top lane to try and stop Rifty pushing.
Yeah, and he's got a big split push impetus behind him too. I mean, he's definitely able to clear the waves with a very, very large amount of ease. Getting a lot of damage onto the turret too, and Keys can't solo hold this right now, so the longer they leave it, the worse they are. They have to commit men to it. It's a shame that Rifty's in the top lane, because if he was in the bot lane, he could potentially be able to drag people down and allow Infused to work towards that Baron. With Dragon up in a minute, I would expect him to stay here until that objective gets on the board.
He's sitting on 1,800 gold as well. He's absolutely huge. We do actually see Brixton trying to jump onto GeoBear in the mid lane with Proper Panda, not able to get anything there. WYZIU needs to be careful because Waffer's going to get a lot of damage back onto him. Got that BF sword along with the Waffer's not in the best of positions, but the crescendo onto WYZIU is great. Waffer's there, Assault crashing onto Jokerism. He's going to get destroyed. They do pick up the kill, but Brixton only picks up GeoBear. Dan gets Jokerism. Dan's going to jump onto WYZIU as well. Accidentally also attacked a ward there, but they should be able to chase down this Nami. Proper Panda chasing, running away down towards the bottom side. Dan is going to go there. There's the Glacier Path, and that is a very dead fish. Meanwhile, Rifty is just like, yeah, I'll tank you up, Keys. I'll tank you up for days. Manages to survive a long time in this fight, even under tower. And Dan trying to come around from the side. It looks like they're just going to go for this tower in the top lane, get their 5th tower of the game, and then they'll rotate down towards that dragon.
Yeah, WoW are the only casualty for Infused there, and they are going to make a big amount of gain from that team fight right now. And all of it was based on Rafa having wonderful feet, or rather wonderful, I guess, ice sledge things.
Sleds? Sleds?
Sleds?
Skates. We'll say wonderful skates. Managing to dodge out.
I've always wondered, you know, he's flying a toboggan. How does that work?
I'm not sure. But then again, I don't understand how Boots makes Corki quicker.
Yeah, he did like rocket boosters or something.
He's actually tried to back, but accidentally tanks up a dragon. Dragon goes a little bit further out than it used to do that. So, but in the last fight, we saw Brixton trying to melt someone down, where he melted down Wawa, but Wawa's, after he's got his crescendo off, he's not doing a huge amount in team fights, really.
Well, he doesn't need to.
Yeah, he doesn't need to.
He literally doesn't need to.
That's not his job. His job is to get the crescendo off really well, maybe get some heals off as well.
Kind of what Ceirnan does late game. You know, she is a fairly squishy champion. You don't tend to build any flat health. You're there to get the wonderful crescendos off, and after that, anything you do is surplus. Because
and it was a great crescendo as well.
It was. You know, Wawa's fantastic. I've been so impressed with his crescendos this game. You know, the healing isn't a great deal. The shield is actually quite good in teamfights because it affects everyone in the area. Obviously, the heal affects the lowest target, as they are going to take this dragon away right now.
And Panda does have the steal possibility here. Of course, Lee Sin, one of the easier champions to steal a dragon on, but Infused straight away to try and put some pressure down. Nice bubble there, but no one to follow up on it. Wawa's going to take a little bit of damage from Dragon. Rafa chasing off Joker towards the side.
They're going to go on to Panda.
They're going to go on to Panda, destroy him.
Wawa
picks up
Wawa's taking up the Dragon.
Taking up Dragon. He needs to be careful. It will be his second death. The Dragon's Wizyu's getting chased out by GeoBear, who hasn't got any mana left, but the Dragon is going to go down. It's the third Dragon of the game for Infused. No Dragons at the moment going across towards UWT, mate. They lose their jungler, they lose the Dragon, and they have to be losing a little bit of motivation here as well as Infused start to put down more and more pressure. Double Morellonomicons on Rifty in the top lane.
Double Morellonomicon.
Yeah.
I mean, just because it's such a gold-efficient item, I guess.
If you want a mid-game swipe, Bjergsen tried to do it yesterday, as far as I remember, against Unicorns of Love. Didn't work out too well for him, but if you want gold efficiency and you want to win in the mid-game, double Morellonomicon is the way to go.
That's gold efficiency, that's 40% cooldown reduction off the bat. Yeah. You've already hit max cooldown reduction there for two very gold-efficient items, plus 160 AP. And I believe it's about 2,400 gold or something for a Morellonomicon. Makes a lot of sense if you want to spam it. It gives you a lot of base stats that are very good. Panda goes on to Wawa.
Panda goes on to Wawa. He's going to go very low. Panda does get the kill. Dan's going to go on to Wizzy, though. Rafa's still available. Rafa gets so much damage down. Dan has been locked up, though, by Brixton. Goes in 2 months like Keys, and Rafa's going to fight this one out. Keys almost at Meganar. Very, very close. The missile barrage will come out from Corki, and he chases them away. They need to be careful because Keys is going to go Mega now. He gets taken so
the ultimate.
A gorgeous ultimate. Geobeg gets taken out, but Rafa gets 2. Rafa could chase this for 3. Meanwhile, Rifty's just like, okay, Brixton gets the kill, but Rifty pushing down the top lane. Inhibitor tower didn't even join the fight. We'll be able to take this inhibitor tower down, and we'll be able to push for the inhibitor as well.
Yeah, 1 second, and a couple of people are back up now, so I think Rifty will have to be careful. But again, 3 low damage targets. Only Brixton that deals any real damage here. So Rifty going to be safe, but definitely could go toe-to-toe with these guys as he's looking like he wants to. Going very aggressive onto Wizzy. He has got the double Morellonomicon, very gold efficient.
Here comes the tidal wave, he's going to miss by a mile. Panda trying to chase onto Rifty, but Rifty does get bubbled up. Oh, Brixton though, death by a grass. You haven't got any magic with this really yet, Rifty, at all, and he does go down very quickly.
Yeah, that was a very, very quick burst there for Brixton. He has got that Death Fire Grass, Rabadon's Death Cap, the highest 2 damage item combination you could potentially get in the game for a burst champion.
Assuming you remember to use that.
Assuming you remember to use it, which I'm guessing Brixton at his level of play would do. But yeah, again, like you said, no Athene, so there's no immediate magic resist. Doesn't have his own Abyssal Scepter. Obviously, would be silly to stack double Abyssal Scepters in a team. But again, double Morellonomicon, I can see it working out very well against Rifty, against Keys, but going up against Brixton and everyone else, probably a little bit more squishy than he'd like to be at this point in time.
Most definitely. We do see an attempted red buff steal here from Infused. Rafa's going to get locked out here. The crescendo comes in, doesn't connect onto Proper Panda. Dragon's Rage pick is available. Geobear from the side. Brixton, look at the damage from Geobear. Brixton's going to go down as well. 1 auto attack from Rafa. Wizyu is the next meal on the menu. Joker isn't going to get locked out there. There's the Never Move. He goes down. That's a dead Graves, and Keys chased off to the side. A triple kill for Rafa. He's playing so well in this game. 9, 3, and 7. Has a Bloodthirster as well. And they're going to push down at this bot lane in the tower. Yeah,
I mean, you're just seeing pure class coming out here from Infused. They've played this game really, really well. They are in the driving seat. They can probably easily push for the win as soon as possible too. And to be honest, WOT definitely left wanting at this point.
Yeah, they definitely are. 13,000 gold the lead, 10 kills as well ahead here for Infused. And a lot of it, you have to think back to that fight in bot lane where they just managed to pick up 4 kills. Rifty got 2, there were 2 as well going across to Geobear, and it's just snowballed from there. Infused very good at using those early advantages and then pushing for this mid-game pressure. And you can see even from their itemization builds as well. We talked about the early Abyssal Scepter. Rifty not in the best position, but assuming Brixton can't get onto him, he should be able to escape from this one. Brixton will have Distortion up right now, so he's going to jump in. Tries to get onto Rifty, but Rifty survives for so long. Proper Panda does pick up the kill with a Dragon's Rage. And the minion followed them all the way into the red left side of the jungle, but Brixton not picking up that kill. Does go to Proper Panda, which is good. He's building towards a Hex Drinker, not tanky at all. Merc Treads and parts of a Hex Drinker at the moment.
Gold, less than 6,000 gold. 6,000 gold right now. He's about a 3,000 gold behind the jungler from Infused. Dan has a lot more on the board. He's got over double the CS of Panda, and I do feel like Panda has not had his best Lee Sin game to date right now, picking up a little bit of health as we speak now in the form of that Kindle Gem. but won't be enough, I believe. He really is only there to be that Dragon's Rage kick at this point in time, and he's going to struggle to farm as well. He's behind on levels. Going to have a low damage at this point in the game, as Lee Sins do if they don't build any damage themselves. So definitely going to struggle now for Panda. He's really only there to be a bit more of a utility-based engage tool.
Infused rotating around towards a Baron here. They're picking up the Rift Scuttler. They're trying to get vision across it as well. They could pick up an early Baron if they wanted to. It looks like they're just going to try and put some pressure on this top lane. The inhibitor tower being down means that they have a free-way into the enemy's base, and UWOT may need to get a bit of vision around this area to defend it. Dan sweeping out as much as he can. Joker's in there as well just to try and get this romp down, but with Rifty around the corner, Rafa actually trying to wait in the rings. He's going to get jumped on by Brixton. Does manage to Valkyrie away, but half his HP is gone. Wawa needs to be careful as well. He's very aggressive here. Jan jumps in, the crescendo only on Proper Panda. They're going on to Jokerism and Wizzy. Wizzy is the target. A nice tidal wave, but Wizzy goes down. Dan goes down as well. Rifty in the middle of this fight. He's a very tanky frontline. Jokerism's going to go down. Proper Panda will be the next target. He's off to the side. He's just running for his life. Brixton bounced his way away, and very good fight there from Infused. He's going to get jumped on. He bounces out, and they're going to go for this inhibitor tower in the mid lane. Should be able to get that one relatively easily. Bloodthirsty shield from Rafa, keeping him nice and tasty on health. The inhibitor should go down now for Infused in the mid lane.
Yeah, right now, UWOT mate is just bird feed for Rifty at this point. The guy is in the middle of the team fights, just eating up the damage.
Oh, here, there you go. Keys actually picks up Rafa in the backline, but gets taken out. Brixton destroyed as well. Actually, Keys running for his life up towards the top side, but Rifty, that never moved, and Slow coming out as well. Will keep Keys under wraps for the second. Does manage to jump itself away. That massive dinosaur not going to go extinct just quite yet, but the inhibitor is going to go down. It's the second inhibitor for Infused. Only 30 minutes in the game. Keys jumps in. Keys gets taken very low. McCarles to heal him up, but he's no longer Mega, and he's no longer Nar as he gets taken out by Rifty. Rifty commanding on this Rift at the moment. A double never move. Wawa flashes in to get onto Proper Panda and Wizzy as well. Jokerism there. Ice Shard not quite connecting right at the end, and the bubble coming out from Wizzy will just make them back off. Meanwhile, Dan's like, oh, I'll just take Dragon Ball. That's our fourth Dragon of the game is going to go to Infused.
Yeah, they will have damage to turrets and towers. Not in matters at this point in the game. It's all but Infused's game at this point right now. And to be honest, UWOT mate.
UWOT mate.
We'll be asking UWOT because it's been a poor game.
It has been a poor game. A second Abyssal Scepter picked up at Rifty now as well. And just scattered corpses of the UWOT mate team just found across the Rift at the moment. They can still get back into this. It has been a poor game, but the thing about... No, they can. The thing about having inhibitor towers down is the minions push towards you. It gives you more opportunity to farm. You do give up global objectives, and with those being so important now, it's going to be difficult for them because they give up things like the Baron control. If they give up that 5th dragon, that's a big bonus as well going towards Infused. But if they can farm up, if they can get a good Gnar ultimate off, along with Brixton melting down GeoBear, even Rifty still will melt under a Deathfire Grasp coming out. If they can get an early kill on one of those carries, they might be able to win the team fight.
Not as much anymore with the Abyssal.
Oh, no, not as much anymore, but he will still melt. He will. He will. Right. Trust me. Oh, Jokerism's going to be the target though. Never Move comes in on him and the Frozen Tomb. Killing spree for Rifty. Keys coming in the side. The Gnar ultimate not knocking anyone up. Wawa is going to get taken out under the towers. Pop Cannon gets the kill there, but Dan helps Rafa pick up 2. Wizzy is going to be the next target. Brixton in there. The Zonya's used out though. It's a triple kill, and they're going to go on to Brixton as well. That is a very dead LeBlanc quadra kill for Rafa, and that's going to be the next towers going down as well. An ace coming out there from Infused. They'll take the victory. 20 kills to 36. 20,000 gold in the lead, 10 towers to 1. They had a very dominant performance in this game. And you have to think, who's going to be able to beat Infused? We've got FM Esports, we've got the Dong squad, the Cambridge Dongarinos. Will they be able to face up against the mice of Infused in this Group A today?
I mean, ideally, when you look at it, the only people in the group that could probably go toe-to-toe with Infused, just based on that performance, would be FM.
Yeah.
And I believe we will be seeing them in action next, so we will see exactly what FM bring to the table in the next game. They are the biggest contenders in this group for the first seed of Group A, going on after Group B, obviously. Infused, obviously, after that performance, they have set the precedent for the day. They were dominant right from the start.
They were dominant right from the start. Guys, we'll be back in with the next game of this Group A tournament, this Group A set of matches on day 2 of our group stages of the League of Legends Riot 4 Nations Championship. Make sure you stay tuned.